Hi, my name is Jan, and I make things. I made this, then this, and even that. I've been woodworking for years now, and honestly, some of those projects turned out pretty decent. On the surface at least. But there are some problems. There's a lot of winging it, a lot of, well, let's see where this goes. And that's because I skipped the fundamentals. As so often in my life, I jumped into the deep end without learning to swim in the shallow water first. So I decided to do something about it and go back to the basics.
Alright, so here's the thing. I am very much self-taught when it comes to making. I never really learned any of this. And that's the reason I'm lacking fundamentals. So I decided to make this series, to go over the basics again and help me and maybe some of you too to learn again. For the first installment I decided it would be good to build some jigs or workshop helpers. You know, some things to help make the subsequent projects more precise and quicker to do. So, let's do just that. But first let's get some materials. They are in the other barn.
As a first jig, I decided to make a track for my circular saw. If you have seen any of my videos, you probably have seen me use that saw. The thing is, I really dislike the table saw, so whenever possible I use the hand saw. But it's always a hassle to set everything up, find a straight piece of lumber as a fence, measure and mark everything. It takes time and is less precise. And quite frankly, a real track saw is too expensive, especially if you can make a track for next to nothing. I chose these two pieces of wood that came from an old piece of furniture. Using something like this has the great benefit that the edges are already straight and 90 degrees. It also means I won't need to use any glue. While I'm using one of the planks as the base for my track, I'm going to rip the other one into a thinner strip. This is going to be my fence. I, of course, have to make sure that everything is straight. I left the base too long on purpose. That way I can make a cut tightly against the fence and have a perfect fit. No measuring or guesswork necessary. And that's basically it for the first workshop helper. A little hole to store it on the wall, and there we go. Jig number 1 done. Which brings us to the second little jig. Now, this is a fairly simple one, but it helps a lot. The bench hook. You see, I quite like using my handsaw, especially to cut smaller pieces of wood or one-offs where I don't have to set up the big miter saw. But without something like a bench hook, the piece I want to cut often wanders. I also always put some off-cut under it to avoid sawing into the workbench. That makes the workpiece even more unstable. For the bench hook, I'm cutting a piece of plywood. I didn't measure it, I just looked where it would feel natural to hold a piece of wood I would want to cut. That's going to be the length of the base. And here the track for the circular saw we just made already comes in handy, and we can use it to cut our base. Now, on the underside, I'm going to glue and screw a full-length piece of lumber. This is going to be pressed against the workbench while cutting and making it stable. And on the top I leave the fence a bit shorter so I can freely cut without cutting into the workbench itself. And that's it. Well, we need a quick little hole again to store it, of course, but then that's it. Now, the last two jigs were to cut more precise and efficient, so I thought it would be good for the final one to aid in assembly. We're going to build 4 right angle clamp helper things. I'm not really sure what to call them, but you get the point. Most of the time when we assemble something in woodworking, it's going to be in a right angle. And there's nothing more frustrating than trying to line everything up. It really shows you the flaw in human evolution in having only 2 hands. That's where these little helpers come in handy. Excuse the pun. For this we are going to cut out 4 triangular shapes and make sure that the angle is absolutely straight in 90 degrees. After that, we cut out where the clamps will sit, and that's already it. Of course, they still need the obligatory holes for storage, but you already know that by now. And there we have it. 3 quick and easy workshop helpers. Now, they might not be the prettiest thing to look at, but they for sure will help make pretty things. If you enjoyed the video, please consider liking and subscribing. It really helps a ton. And if you have any ideas of what you want me to cover in this Back to the Basics series, let me know in the comments. Until then.